Welcome back to my shop. Today I'm going to be doing something I've been putting off doing because a lot of people give me a lot of arguments and they never stop. But today I'm going to be talking about the Øland tool. The tool I use for turning. Way back when I started turning, I had a cheap Harbor Freight lathe and I turned on the carport, had the lathe on wheels, didn't have any money to buy tools, so I looked around and found what's called an Øland tool. And I made them. I made a few. Very, very cheap to make and very easy to sharpen. I sharpen them on a $20 regular bench grinder. $20 grinder I got from Big Lots. I've been using it ever since. And I started using the Øland tools. Well, people tell me, well, you got to use the classic tools. You can't use those. Those don't do this or those don't do that. So well, you can't cut as smooth or you can't cut as fast. But you know what? I've been using them ever since. And I've tried other tools, and I found the Øland tools work just as good. Ain't no problem at all. If their bits are good enough to cut steel, they sure are good enough to cut wood, and they do. Okay, so they're just a scraper, but they cut wood good. I'll show you some cutting later in the video. Now I've got three right here. This one's got a 1/4-inch bit in it. And it's ground on the right hand side. I use this for the outside. Of course, I've got more than 1/4 inch. I've got others. This one's 1/8 inch. 1/8 inch one, I've only got 1/8 inch one. I got it just rounded on the end. Very small. Don't use it that much. 3/16 what I use most of the time. Now this 3/16 is ground with a curve this way on the left side, and I use it for the insides of turning. And I use my 3/16 most of the time. I got one ground the other way, I got one ground around the end. Nice thing about these tools, you can grind any profile you want, any angle, get them as sharp as you want. When I sharpen one, I take it over to the grinder and I can sharpen it in about 10 seconds average time, I'd say, to sharpen one. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to build three of them. I'm going to build a 1/4 inch, 3/16, and an 1/8 inch. So let me put these away. Okay, to make the tools, you need a few things. First of all, you need the bits. These are bits that are used on metalworking lathes. And they're HSS bits. There's a 1/4. Here's a 1/8. Here's a 3/16. I'm going to make a tool for each one of these. They're all 2.5 inches long. Like I said, they're just HSS bits. This is 1/8 square. This is 3/16 square. This is 1/4 square. You can buy these. You can buy them at Amazon. You can buy them at Grizzly. You can buy them other places. You can get a package from Harbor Freight, but it's got a 1/4, a 3/16, a 1/8, then it's got a flat one, and it's got a round one that's 1/4. So the ones I use most are 3/16. That's what I use all the time. That's what I buy the most of. I've got quite a few 1/4s, quite a few 1/8s that I've never used from getting them from Harbor Freight. They're just extras. But yeah, there's a lot of places you can get them, and they're just regular metal turning bits. So these are fairly cheap if you buy them. Cost a couple of dollars for one, so they're cheap. Next thing you need is the steel shafts. Now I went to the ironworks today, got some steel shafts. I got some 1/2 inch. I'm going to use those for the 1/8 and the 3/16, and then I got 2 5/8. I'm going to use one of them for the 1/4 inch. Now I got 5 pieces of steel, all 13 inches long, for $5 from the ironworks. Of course, they're not clean and shiny yet. So what I'm going to do first thing is put these in a lathe, put them in a wood lathe, chuck them up, put some sandpaper on, shine them up. And of course, you want to put a ferrule on them. Now you can use a copper coupling to get a ferrule material, or you can use a piece of copper pipe or whatever you got. Let's see, I was talking about ferrules. Ferrules are needed on tools that have tangs that are tapered, because when you push the taper in, it tends to split the wood. And the ferrules prevent that. On tools like these, where you just drill a hole 1/2 inch or 5/8 in the handle, you don't really need the ferrules. It's just to pretty them up a little bit, make them look nice. But copper coupling works great as ferrules. Cut a piece off and use it as a ferrule, works good. So like I said, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to check these up in a wood lathe. I'm going to take some sandpaper and sand them down until they're shiny. I'll start with 100 grit and work on down. Probably 2 or 3 grits is all I need. I don't need them super smooth or nothing. I've got 3 shafts cleaned up. So I'm going to make is 3. 2 of them 1/2 inch diameter, 1 5/8 inch diameter. I've got them center punched on the end, right dead center, as close as I can get. Probably a little bit off, but close enough, pretty close to dead center on all 3 of them. On the end, center punched. Okay. I'm going to make one with a 1/8 bit, one with a 3/16, one with a 1/4 bit. Now, of course, a 1/4 bit square don't go into a 1/4 bit hole. Like 3/16 don't go into 3/16 round hole, not a square piece. So, I want them to fit as tight as I can in the holes. I don't want them loose. I want as small a hole as I can put and still have them fit in. Okay, I measured the pieces from corner to corner. Then I got the bits. It's just big enough. Now I only have the fraction bits. If I had the numbered bits and the lettered bits and the metric bits, I could probably get closer. But just using the fraction bits, I'm going to use the 3/16 for the 1/8. I'm going to use 9/32 for the 3/16 bit. And I'm going to use 23/64 for the 1/4 inch. And hope they fit. If not, I'll have to ream them out a little bit. But those should work. So I got to put them on the drill press now and drill a hole that size down through them. I'll drill a smaller guide hole first, and then I'll drill a hole down. These are 2.5 inch, so I want to go down about 2 1/4 inch, so they don't seat all the way in. Otherwise, they could fall in. You never get them out. So I want a little bit sticking out. Yeah, it is possible to put them, chuck them up, and drill them on a lathe, but I'm going to use a drill press and drill a hole, all 3 of them, for the bits. I drilled a hole down in the end of each one. I'm not a machinist, and I didn't get them perfectly centered, but I got them close enough to be usable. The three sizes I used was 11/64, that's for the 1/8 inch one, and I used 17/64, that's for the 3/16, and then I used 11/32 for the 1/4 inch. Now, like I said, if I had a real full set of drill bits, I probably could have got some that are a little bit tighter. But these are close enough to work. So you can see I put a hole in the end. Now, when I started making these, I went to Fastenal and bought a whole box of 1032 set screws. Of course, I got a tap. I had a set of taps, but I bought a new one just for this. 1032 tap. And when I say short set screws, I mean short. I don't know if you can see this or not, but there it is, a short set screw. So each of these, I drilled a hole as close to the end as I can get and tapped it for 1032. And I know some people say, well, you got to have 2 screws. I've been using them for years and years. Never had but 1 screw and never had a bit of a problem. Like I said, I put it close to the end as I can get. That way I can use them down to short a piece. Put them 2. Okay, let's see where we're at right now. First of all, I went to the ironworks and got some regular construction iron, just regular soft iron. I got 13-inch pieces, 5/8 round and 1/2 inch round. I paid $1 each for them, approximately. I bought 5 pieces and paid $5. Okay, I cleaned them up a little bit. Then I drilled a hole down the end of them, as well centered as I could. Like I said, I'm not a machinist, so they ain't perfectly centered, but they're centered and good enough to work. That's all that matters. So, I used a 5/8 for the 1/4 inch bit. I used a 1/2 inch for the 3/16 and for the 1/8 inch bit. Now, 1/8 inch bit probably could have used a smaller rod, but I don't know, smaller rod might be a little bit weak. 1/2 inch is plenty stout. We'll have to, I think, grind a taper on the around the edge on that one. I drilled a hole right close to the end as I could. I used a 5/32, and I tapped it to 1032. Like I said, when I first started doing these, I went to Fastenal, bought a whole box of really short 1032 set screws. And of course I got a tap with them. So I tapped these as close to the edge, as close to the end as I could, and put them in. So they're all mounted now. Now I need a handle for them all. So any good wood turner knows how to make a handle. But I'm going to make, I guess, 3 handles. Now when I make handles, I glue up 2 pieces of wood, or 2 or more pieces of wood. And I make, each and every handle I make's different. That way when I grab a tool, I'll know what I got. I use different woods, put a little bit different shape on the handles. Then I'm going to drill a hole in the handles for these with a Forstner bit. So the hole will be as deep as I can go with a Forstner bit. So to leave about 10 inches out, be okay. So first I'm going to get some wood and glue it up for handles. Okay, I need handles for all 3 of them. Now normally I don't do pretty handles. I do handles to use, not to look at. It's true, when I did the video on making this carbide tool, I got a video on making this tool, I did make a nice looking handle for it. I used some marble wood, but this is my showpiece tool, and this is the only one. Other than that, I make handles to use. Now I don't have a lot of thick wood around here. Mostly I got 4-4. In fact, just about everything's 4-4. So what I do is glue pieces together for handles. And I got some glued up. This is, I use whatever I got around. This is white oak and maple on that one. This is maple and cherry on this one. And this one here is white oak, and it's got maple and cherry both on it. So I got 3 different here. And the long one I'm going to use for the big 1/4 inch. The short ones I'm going to use for the other 2. And I'm going to turn one end round, put it in a chuck. I've got center points marked on it. And I'm going to take, after I get it chucked up, I'm going to take Forstner bit and drill in as deep as I can go with a Forstner bit. Then I'm going to bring the center up on the tailstock and hold it and turn a handle. Nothing fancy, just something to hold on to, something that's comfortable in my hand, and that's it. On the end, I'll turn it to take a ferrule. I need 2 more ferrules, so they're not really, like I said, they're not really important. They're just for dressing it up a little, just for looks. So we'll see. Anyway, what I'm going to do is turn one end around, put it in the chuck, and then drill out the other end, bring the center up and turn it. I've got 3 handles turned. Nothing special, just something to hold on to. 3 handles. Now, if you like pretty handles, of course, make pretty handles if that's what you like. Get some Bacote or some Bibinga, maybe some Cocobolo, make some nice, beautiful handles. Nothing wrong with that if that's what you want. But me, I just want something to hold on to. That's all I want for these. So what I did now is I measured down to the bottom of the hole. I've drilled the hole through them naturally with a Forstner bit. 1 with 5/8 and 2 with 1/2 inch. This one here is a 1/2 inch hole. So I took and measured down to the bottom of the hole and put a mark right where the bottom of the hole is. And what I'm going to do is take a very small drill bit and drill a hole through to the center on all 3 of them. The reason for that is when I put epoxy in the hole and drive the shaft in, it compresses the air at the bottom. As soon as I get it driven in and let it go, the compressed air pushes the shaft right back out. So I put a small hole in them, let the air out the bottom. When I put the shaft in, it stays in. Now I just got the ferrules on with epoxy. Just put a little epoxy in them, put them on. Like I said, these are nothing special. These handles are just something for me to hold on to. So I'm going to go ahead and drill them. I'm going to mix some epoxy and put in a hole, and I'm going to drive the shafts in. We're going to let the epoxy dry. And I'll put the shafts in. I'll take a mallet or a piece of wood and just drive them down in, because they're going to fit tight, but they'll go. So that's what I'm going to do now. Drill them, put epoxy in the hole, drive the shafts in, let the epoxy set. Okay, now I've got 3 of them built. 1/4 inch. 3/16 of an inch. And 1/1/8 of an inch. They all cost me less than $5 to build each one. But now we ask, how well do they work? So, let's find out just how well they do work. Now, of course, there's a whole lot of people that'll tell you you've got to use gouges. If you want to do good woodworking, you're not a real woodworker unless you use gouges. Well, I've been using these ever since I started, and I have made quite a few pieces, as you can see in the front of my video. And I've never had a bit of trouble with them. They always cut good. Now, when the carbides come out, I got a full set of square shaft carbides. Okay? The square shaft carbides cut good. They cut great. But you got to cut them flat. And they're quite aggressive flat. So they're not quite versatile enough for me. I like to get a little shear cut now and then. I like to be able to control my cut a little bit more than that. And you can't make fine cuts with the ones on a square shaft. But if you put them on a round shaft, you can. So I made a whole set of carbides on round shaft. There's a whole set of them. Every one you can think of, different sizes. They all cut real good. They cut great. They're versatile on a round shaft. You can twist them up and get a shear cut on a round shaft. There's a lot you can do with them. You can take the small one you can get in the corners, and they cut great. They cut good. And a lot of people are going to carbides simply because they're easy to use. You don't need special equipment to sharpen them. All you need is a little diamond plate to sharpen them. And they cut good. They cut great. But I found out, after using them, these cut better than the carbides do. You say, well, why is that? Well, one thing, they're HSS. Another thing is, you can put any profile you want on them. You can make a dozen of them, give all different profiles, so you can get the exact cut you need. You can grind any cut angle on them you want. Now, I got some wood here, and let's pretend this wood is the actual bits. Now, I put one profile like this on it, and I'll use that on the outside of a turning. And I use a cut angle of about 80 degrees. Now, I don't use a jig to sharpen it. Like I said, I use a regular bench grinder, $20 grinder I got from Big Lots. And I know what angle to hold it at to get the angle I want. Then I use an angle like this for the inside, so I can cut the inside of a turning. And it works good too. It works great. And again, I got the same 80-degree angle here. Then I got some cut with a flat on the end. Again, the 80-degree angle, about 80 degree. Now, I don't know, I've never actually measured it, but it looks like about 80 degrees. The more angle you put, the sharper it is, the quicker it goes. That's as simple as that. But I've got a flat one I use sometimes. And then, of course, a gentle round one, again with an 80-degree angle on it, which is quite aggressive. So, what I did, just for a demo, I took the 1/4 inch and I ground it this way so that I can get a camera angle that'll actually show it cutting. And I did the same thing with the 3/16. But now the 1/8 one, I made it kind of square on the end so we can see how it does. Use it for detailing, a small bit. Of course, like I said, you can cut any angle you want on it. Cut a V on it, cut it square, cut it a little bit rounded, whatever you want. But I'm going to go put some wood up on the lathe, and I'll get off on the side. And first I'm going to make a shear cut. I'll take this turning tool and I'll hold the handle down so I get a shear cut angle. I'll come across and make a real fine cut like you would to get rid of tear out. You know, they say, well, you know, you have to have a gouge to get good tear out cut. No. With these you can get a sharp one, you can get a sure angle, you can get a real nice smooth cut. Don't let anybody tell you you can't. So that's what I'm going to do first, and then I'm going to take and make a couple of passes, show how it really turns wood off. So we're going to do that. First of all, I'm going to put all my carbides away, and then I'm going to set it up and get. I think I can get a camera angle where I can show that. Okay, first I'm going to hold the handle down, get a sure angle on it, make a real light cut, and get some fine shavings. Nice smooth cut. I don't know if we'll be able to see the shavings or not, but that's what I'm going to do, just to show how it can be done. Okay, maybe you can see them on my hand here, the real fine shavings. So yeah, this is pretty hard wood, so that's pretty good shavings off of it. So that's how you get a smooth cut. Now, to make a more aggressive cut, how well will it cut? Let's find out. Don't hold the handle down. Let's make an aggressive cut on it. See them shavings coming off? That's the 3/16 one. Let's try the 1/4 inch. Doggone it. Let's try the 1/4 inch and see what it'll do. Wow, that cut way down. That threw off some big shaving. Okay, now the detail piece. Let's see how well it works. Like I said, it's kind of square on the end. I might have to come in at an angle. I don't know if I can do this or not. There we go. Made a nice groove there, no problem at all. I don't know if you can see that groove or not, but it put one in right away. There, you can see the groove here now, real well. So, that's how well they cut. No problem at all. Okay, let's do a little quick recap here. I started off with 3 pieces of regular soft steel rod, 2 1/2 inch, 1 5/8. Size depends on the bit you're going to be using. So I got regular construction steel. Now you can get polished steel if you want. If you want it to look nice, that's fine. That's great. Do not, I repeat, do not try hardened steel. You'll never drill it. It'd be great if you could drill it, but drilling it's impossible. Okay? I got these 13 inches long, and I tried to bury about 3 inches. I probably didn't bury that much. So I got hanging out. I got 11 inches hanging out, okay? So I only got about 2 inches buried as far as my Forstner bits will go. But again, you can buy your steel whatever size you want. So leave them out, hanging out however far you want, bury them however deep you want. Okay? I drilled 3 holes, 11/64 for the 1/4 inch, No, 11/64 have to be for the 3/16. 17/64 for the 1/4 inch. And 11/32. Okay. I got them backwards. 11/64 would be for the 1/8 inch. 17/64 for the 3/16. And 11/32 for the 1/4 inch. Anyway, I sized them as close as I could get. Now, if I had a better bit set, I could probably get them closer. But these are good enough. And I drilled a hole as close to the end as I can get. I know some people say you need 2 holes, you don't. I've been using them for years with one. And loosen it up, move them out as need be as you grind them down. And close to the end, you can use them right down to very small pieces, so you don't throw much away at the end. I used 10 32 set screws. I bought a whole bag for next to nothing. And a tap. The handles, I just made handles out of shop wood. Just something simple to hold on to. Like I say again, you can make real nice pretty handles if you want. That's fine. You know, if you like them that way, that's great. The ferrules, you don't really need a ferrule. I put them on just out of habit, I suppose. Anyway, people won't ask where the ferrules are at if I got one on them. So, how do they cut? They cut great. I've been using them for years, and people still tell me you can't do this or you can't do that without using a gouge. I don't use a gouge. The plus side is, as long as I use these, I'll never get a catch. If I make a big open segment turning that I spent, hours and hours and hours building, I don't want one catch grabbing and throwing it across the floor, no. So, I use these. I've been using these. I'll continue using these. They're cheap. It takes me 10 seconds to sharpen them. They say, well, a gouge is quicker, I can make this turning in 10 minutes. Okay, so it takes me 11 minutes to make the same turning. Okay, but when you go to sharpen your gouge, it's going to take you 10 minutes to sharpen a gouge. It's going to take me 10 seconds to sharpen this. Don't need a jig, don't need nothing. Just hold it up to the grinding wheel, make one quick pass, and that's it. It's sharp. So, I hope you appreciate my little video. I know I'm going to hit a lot of controversy on it, but that's okay. That's fine. Everybody's got their own opinions, and they're entitled to them. And I thank the people that watch the video, and I really thank those that subscribe. And I'm going to leave my email because I know I'm going to get a lot of comments, but I'll leave my email up here. And thank you.